Hey everyone, I'm here today to take a look at the Jurassic Park Hammond collection Pachycephalosaurus from Mattel. And I've always been a big fan of Pachycephalosaurus because it was the first Lost World toy that I ever got as a kid, so I'm kind of nostalgic about it. So I'm glad we've got one so quickly in the Hammond collection. This is the box it comes in. It's very similar to the box the Velociraptors come in, that smaller size packaging. And it's got 30th anniversary written on the top there. And it's kind of like a banner coming down, like the Jurassic Park When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth banner that comes down in the original movie. On the back of the packaging, up in the corner there, you can see the Lost World logo. There's a picture of the toy, a photograph of the dinosaur from the Lost World movie, and a small bio as well. There's a really nice photo of the toy on the side of the packaging there as well. Got some really nice articulation, as all these Hammond collections do. With the legs, they go forward and backwards, as well as pivoting out to the side a little bit. There's knee articulation that goes forward and backwards and swivels around. There's ankle articulation, goes forward and backwards. Same on this side. The knee and ankle articulation. The knee articulation is a bit tight, and on this side it's come very loose, as if it's, I think the joint might have snapped a bit because it's come very loose there all of a sudden. This one's very tight, but where I've just moved that, it's too loose. I get a feeling like the peg going through the knee there has just snapped actually on that. So that's a bit disappointing. And you can see there's kind of a gap there as well, as if it's pushed out further than this one. I'm going to try and move this one. I don't want to break this one as well. Yeah, see, that one's a lot tighter, where there's kind of a ratchet. I'm sure this one has just broken. Oh, that's really disappointing. Hopefully it's not going to cause balance issues. So that leg's a bit loose now. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but watch out for that, because that wasn't like that earlier. I've literally just done that while filming this review. Anyway, the arms will also go out to the sides, go up and down around like that, swivel out like that. Very human looking hands there. The tail is on a swivel there, like a ball joint, but the tail itself is kind of a rubbery plastic, and inside that is a wire, so you can bend the tail and the wire will hold the tail bent like that. And probably most importantly for this guy, there's some really nice articulation in the neck. At the top, at the base of the skull, the head will go up and down, and you can bend the neck down like that, so he looks like he's about to ram into something or another dinosaur. Oh, you can just have him looking up like that, see? And then also the mouth will open and close. Closed and open there like that. Opens quite wide, and you can have it at different levels, closed to completely. So nice articulation there. You can see inside the mouth he's got a tongue sculpted. It's a really nice paint job as well. I like the green with the dark green along the back. It reminds me a lot of the original Lost World toy. Nice spikes and that on the nose too. Beak's all painted. Kind of a white pale paint job on the dome, on the skull there. The dark green going down the back. Nails on his hands aren't painted, which is an odd omission. I think they've done that on a few of these Hammond collection ones. Even though everything else is painted, they still have a thing about the nails on the hands. And also the nails are on kind of the inside of the legs. Sort of, I don't know if you can see, it's only a tiny nail there, but that's not painted either. Though there are some odd speckles of paint on the inside of his ankle there, which is a bit of a mistake, like they're not supposed to be there. It just seems like some spots of paint have fallen on there. It doesn't really bother me because it's not that noticeable on the inside of the foot, and it just looks like sort of natural moulds or something, but that's just a bit of a paint defect. But like I said, it's not something that actually bothers me, to be honest. Lots of spots and lumps and things all sculpted in to give that scaling effect on the skin, and little ripples in the skin. As I mentioned earlier, his hands are quite human looking, especially if you compare it to some of the other Pachycephalosauruses we've had. So he's very pale on the underside, where there's kind of a whitewash going along the belly and up the underside of the neck, very similar to the white on the skull. And then other than those white bits and the eyes, the rest of the dinosaur is different shades of green, like the main body, and then these sort of darker, deeper green patches along the back and on the thigh there, stripes along the tail. You can see the toenails are painted. Now for a comparison, here is the original Pachycephalosaurus from the Lost World toy line, which I always really liked because of the colour scheme. I think it's got a great, like the darker green and the lighter green, which is actually quite similar to what we've got on this newer one. Not exactly the same, but I mean the green along the back especially is almost the same, so I like that callback. I kind of like the red on this one, even though it's not accurate to how it looks in the film. And the head in general isn't too accurate on this one. It doesn't even have a beak, it's just got sort of normal lips there. This has an action feature. When you press the button on the thigh there, it's got a headbutt in action. So you can get it in a pose like that, like they're about to headbutt each other. And here he is next to the first Pachycephalosaurus we got from Mattel, which I was never that keen on. I always had a bit of trouble balancing him, and I don't know, I'm not as keen on the lighter colour scheme. I like the greener look of this new one, maybe because it reminds me of that original toy I had. But this has got an action feature where the head butts as well. Not something I'm particularly bothered about. I prefer the articulation of the Hammond collection, but it's nice to build up a species of these. This Hammond collection Pachycephalosaurus is definitely the best of the three, even though I do really love the colour scheme on the original. The first Mattel one, like I say, I'm not all that keen on really. I think this one looks a lot better, but this one is smaller than the other two, so it's almost comes across like it's a bit of a juvenile maybe. It doesn't show up so much on camera here, but actually in person this new one does look considerably sort of smaller and thinner, but the proportions look better. And I love the articulation on it. Really lovely detailing too, and a good paint job. Thanks for joining me for this look at the Hammond collection Pachycephalosaurus. Always like getting more herbivores, and especially ones from the Lost World. Be good putting this with the Parasaurolophus, so you can have Roland Tembo in that jeep we got last year hunting them down. It's also nice building up a species. Now we've got a few different variants of this from Mattel and the old Kenner version. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all soon.